Welcome to a 2v2 on Crossing in the Woods. This is going to be Phil 111 and Captain Jorge. No, Capitan Jorge. Versus Crom and Marc. We're going to see all four factions represented this game. Infantry Company already locked in for US forces. Spec Ops already locked in for Phil. We don't see that one very frequently, but I think it's probably one of the better Over Commando West commanders this patch, honestly, because being able to get a Panther without going tier 4 is a pretty nice thing. Definitely. Capitan Jorge. I'm just going to call him Jorge. Jorge, the only person actually that is not locked in a commander, because Marc just threw guard motor down, so Jorge will have access to Jaeger armor, elite troops, and mechanized assault. Pretty standard Osterra loadout, and everything else we've seen picked is pretty normal. Especially on Crossing and a 2v2, I would say Infantry Company is your best bet. I mean, Rifle Company is always popular, but on this map, I think going with the LMGs and the Priests, especially in a 2v2 situation, is a pretty good idea. Over here on the left side, looks like the Soviets are making pretty good progress, and the Axis are already feeling rather boxed in here at the beginning of the game. Not successfully taking either fuel point, despite the decision to go Kuba Wagon. It looks like it's just not going all that well, since the Stern Pioneers did not contribute to the initial engagement and went instead to wire off the central victory point, which, while there's nothing wrong with that, weakened their ability to take control of the left side fuel, but it will probably solidify a hold on this center VP at least for a little while. Kuba Wagon is going to have to pull back for repairs here initially, and just this straight up 4 conscript opening here from Marc is going to pretty much shut down the Over Commando West player for now. Stern Pioneers are about to engage against 3 squads at medium range without Kuba Wagon support. That's going to get shut down. Probably a mistake right there. When you go Kuba Wagon first, you want to get the squad suppressed and then charge with the Stern Pioneers so you can maximize their combat effectiveness there. And just took a model loss, didn't really inflict anything on his opponent, didn't gain any territory, was forced back into his base, and now green cover is being built right outside of his base. Which is going to make it very difficult to progress from this point, and since his teammate has also failed to take any fuel over here, fighting position going up with the machine gun, the Axis are already off to a horrible start for fuel and manpower. This is going to be extremely difficult containment to break. So many sandbags getting spammed. He's actually trying to block not only hold up front line here with this green cover, but block pathing. So that's going to be a pain. Looks like everything that Phil has is going to head middle/right to assist his teammate against 3 rifle opening, and I think Crom has gone captain. Wow. 3 riflemen captain, interesting, which leaves him with a lot of manpower float. Maybe he's thinking of going double pack howitzer or something, but with a fuel lead this strong, I think lieutenant would have been a little more appropriate to apply strong early pressure to maintain this containment. But we'll see what happens. Phil has rotated mid, and we'll get control of this victory point here. More green cover being thrown up, and the Soviet player has built a great wall of conscripts, apparently, over here on the left side. And this fighting position will also be a little difficult to crack. Machine gun needs to rotate to try and shut down that blob of riflemen. Repositioning slowly. Riflemen probably going to lose this engagement unless they tech grenades, which they did not, so they will be forced to retreat right there. Machine gun suppresses the other squad. The fighting position suppresses these 2 squads, so everything is suppressed. Riflemen will be the first to retreat. Thank you for following Maximus. Maximus Leet LOL. Much appreciated. Conscripts moving in to take control of various stuff. Sandbags going up right there. Big push. Folks Grenadiers pushing those riflemen away right there. Stern Pioneers making everything else retreat. Kuba Wagon. So good team effort right there. Coordinated push by both Axis players to try and gain a foothold on one front, worry about the other one later. Although this is definitely important to get out of here, because if they lose control of this cutoff, that will also be problematic. The Axis will rotate as 1 into this engagement, deploying a rifle grenade right there, and with mortar fire, oh my god, the carnage! There might be 2 wipes right here. Folks, Grenadiers, Pios, Grenadiers, everything. 2 conscripts wiped. The other 2 are going to get away narrowly. Some huge rifle grenades and mortar hits. Where is that mortar? It's over here. Wow, that was actually a pretty long range. Does it really only have 2 kills? That looks like more than 2 kills to me. I guess mostly it went down to small arms fire after the mortar hit connected. But either way, Soviet player is pushed completely back into the base, and some Axis squads will spread out and get territory under control over here on the left side. And unfortunately, the Great Wall was not able to stop any pushes. Good call by Phil, by the way, not to smash his head against just running into this green cover position over and over again with his units. He actually went and helped his teammate on a slightly weaker front. That definitely paid off big time, and now the Axis will have a chance to rotate into this half of the map. And Crom is actually fielding a mortar half-track. I could see that. When they're this far ahead, sure. White phosphorus to maybe shut down. Whatever. I usually say that the mortar half-track is terrible, and I will maintain that stance. It is pretty terrible, but at the same time, I feel like they were off to such a strong advantage that having some form of indirect fire plus the white phosphorus to slow any counterattack could be valuable. We'll see how it performs throughout the course of the game. Sniper has been fielded towards the left. Oh my god, it's so stranded. Is that a wipe too? Oh, red cover. Almost, not quite. Sniper will have no choice but to retreat through flak half-track fire. Does get away, unfortunately. None of those bursts connected all that well. Sniper will escape, if only narrowly. There are guards on the field to put pressure on that flak half-track should it take engine damage. But with only 2 squads of conscripts left, I would say that Phil is off to an excellent start over here on the left side, when initially he was in quite a bit of trouble. Nice teamwork from the Allies this time, deploying an AT gun to this front to put pressure on that flak half-track to reposition to safety away from this defensive position. Kuba wagon set up to fire against these riflemen. Got 3 squads moving in against these 2 squads. We'll be able to force them to retreat. Pios moving to repair the Kubel, and a flamethrower will also contribute to this engagement. Convince those riflemen to get out of there that much sooner. Ambulance on the field now to give Crom access to forward reinforcement and healing. This fighting position does need some repairs, but the AT gun plus mortar will probably get that destroyed very soon. This push across the river. Ooh, nice hit from the mortar half-track, which is up to 4 kills. 4 kills, and it's only been on the field for, not that long. Just, I don't even know how long it's been on the field. But yeah, not that long. 5 kills now. So this is actually probably one of the best performing mortar half-tracks I've ever seen. And, ooh, but there's that good old-fashioned friendly fire. Oh no, that wasn't friendly fire. That was the Oster mortar. Okay. So yeah, this one's actually doing pretty good. Trying to bombard that mortar right now. Doesn't seem to be doing that great, but not that badly either. It gets 2 more kills on that mortar, maybe able to pressure that weapon into a retreat. But the AT gun is firing on this fighting position, which is apparently at full health right now. The mortar plus AT gun struggling to get that taken out, but this scout car should be able to provide vision and get that thing destroyed. Once that 222 finds that mortar half-track, it'll be in pretty serious danger as well. There's not much of a counter to a 222 on the right side, except for this captain, who is at quite low health. So the mortar half-track has to be careful. Currently, the US AT gun is on the left side, rotating right to try and help against that light vehicle, make sure that mortar half-track doesn't go down. Meanwhile, the engagement for the left looks like it's not really going in anybody's favor. The Kuba wagon has moved over here to help hold the line. Soviet player is going to try and poke the left side fuel a little bit with those conscripts. But Sniper had to retreat, apparently. And generally, he just doesn't have that much infantry where it doesn't necessarily feel that safe engaging across the river against a Kubel and a flak half-track and a pretty healthy amount of Volksgrenadiers.
Boys, you ready to roll out? Enemy infantry! Position's good to go. The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points. Under fire! Stand out! A capture point.
Rifleman set up in green cover right here. Will definitely kill that flamethrower squad. Late retreat, dies in the red cover with the water right there. That was definitely not a good idea. Where's the Oster mortar? Had to retreat. Coming back to the front line now. Should be able to pound those riflemen out of cover. And as infantry company, we'll be able to build his own green cover, so that'll be a nice thing to have access to.
We're losing a capture point. Take an HMG fire.
Nice teller mine. But unfortunately, the AT gun was parked right on top of that teller mine and was destroyed. So that was actually not even that bad of a trade. I would be pretty happy to trade a Stuart for a AT gun, since Stuarts aren't exactly that useful anyway. But it's unfortunate that the Stuart failed in its mission to destroy that scout car right there. Nice mine, but it is important not to park your own units on top of your own mines, because that is what happens when you do. Riflemen going in on the Panzer Grenadiers right there. They will be able to force a retreat with superior numbers and get control, or secure control of the right side fuel point, which the Axis just thus far have utterly failed to get under their control. Tier 4 going up here for Phil, despite the fact that he went Spec Ops, so I don't think he intends to rush the Command Panther. At all. I'm probably going to get some Obersoldaten out of here, I guess, is my assumption. A couple of Soviet squads just set up in green cover here on their half of the river, do not seem to be making any real attempt to get control of the left side fuel point, but the sniper is probably picking off infantry where possible. Most lethal engagements are happening over here on the right side between the Osterre and US forces, as the US tries to maintain a stronghold on this fuel point, but it's getting weaker and weaker. Fighting position has been rebuilt over here, but it's on the south side of the river, and there's nothing defending this fuel point left except for one wounded squad of riflemen and a mortar bombarding from range. Everything else on the south half of the river, where things are a little bit safer, and a couple squads are reinforcing and healing in the base. The fighting position will manage to suppress one squad of grenadiers just barely on the edge of its range. Frag grenade does a little bit of damage right there. Osterre mortar gets a big hit off though, and those riflemen cannot stick around any longer. And there they go. 222 is about to be fully repaired. This mortar is up to Vet 2 with 7 kills, and the US mortar is up to also 7 kills. Still no usage of white phosphorus yet, but it seems to be doing pretty well with just the barrage and auto fire. Over here on the left side, the Osterre half-track, or not Osterre, Upper Commando West flak half-track, destroying some cover positions, trying to put pressure on some infantry. There's quite a lot of infantry over here. Pretty decent chance of this thing getting overwhelmed if it overextends itself or is a little too slow to set up. But at Vet 1 it will have access to smoke. Heavy mortar on the field here for the Soviet player is going to start bombarding over here in this area. There's currently 2 Raketten Warfare set up against an armored push. Obersoldaten are hitting the field. The Kuba Wagon's still alive. Stern Pioneers are here. So up until now, Marc doesn't seem to have any really viable way to push aggressively and try and take on this position, and he's still quite a ways away from his T-34-85s. On the right side, the US player has sort of managed to get that fuel point a little back under control with some riflemen, but is forced to retreat by that rifle grenade. Grenadiers should be able to get that fuel point under control. Once he's just gonna let that decap naturally on its own though. STG Obersoldaten upgraded right there, get into close range on some Soviet infantry. They do not currently have cover, and the flamethrower brings them low, but they will get away after inflicting a decent amount of damage with only 1 model loss, so they probably engaged quite cost effectively right there. The flak half-track is going to move up to try and support. Kuba Wagon on the north flank, flak half-track on the west flank, plus infiltration grenades on the suppressed squads, forces everything into the base. Nicely executed push right there, and he gets the flag half-track into the retreat path of those conscripts. But they will get away without getting wiped, and Phil will get back control of all territories here on the left side, and since his teammate seems to be doing a good job of constantly harassing and decapping the right side fuel, the Axis are off to a pretty strong fuel advantage. But not enough of a fuel advantage to shut down the Allied Collins. Of course, T-34-85s are definitely going to be arriving this game. And Crom is going to have his share of Tier 4 units as well. Major's already on the field, in addition to Captain plus Stuart, plus Mortar half-track, plus Scott. So, plenty of big fuel purchases by the American player, and plenty to come from the Soviet, who has gone double sniper, by the way, which is kind of an interesting build against flak half-track. You should still, especially the Obersoldaten, be able to bleed the Obers, but he just has to be very careful to make sure those snipers never get exposed to serious harm from that flak half-track, which he should be able to do. Fresh cover being built here. The mortar needs to move up to a slightly more aggressive location as well. Phil's going to backpedal slightly from the left side engagement. Over here on the right, riflemen were forced to retreat from the fuel point. Once again, Panzer Grenadiers are going to move to get control of that fuel if possible. This mortar hasn't really hit anything for a while. Still at 7 kills. It's now kind of falling behind. Osterre mortar done a little bit more damage, but nothing too serious. And LMGs have started being purchased on these riflemen. That's going to make them quite capable of engaging from across the river, but not all that effective at charging across the river into Panzer Grenadiers, as we can see right there. We'll be forced to retreat from that medium-range engagement. Fighting position taking damage from that mortar, which has moved up to a more aggressive location. Mortar may counter bombard a little bit with a barrage here. And there's the Scot. With a Scot on the field, U.S. player will have even more indirect fire with which to bleed these Osterra units. And U.S. forces actually starts getting pretty okay on this map if microed carefully enough, because they have a lot of long-range solutions. They have the Jackson and the Scot, which can both fire from a safe position across the river and bleed anything that tries to cross. So, off to a good start already. Forces a retreat from that Grenadier squad. Oh, and they also have access to a forward retreat point, so they never have to retreat very far from an engagement. So I feel like Crom is making some pretty intelligent build decisions this game, getting himself the mortar half-track, getting himself the Scot. The combined effect of all of his indirect fire units should be pretty effective, and as you can see, all Osterra units are being forced back into the field, and Jorge has not yet chosen anything. Ooh, what happened right there? Kuba wagon goes down to guards from the look of things. Nice pickup. The flak half-track is still alive, fortunately. Heavy mortar is going to try to bombard things from range, but it doesn't look like there's any real possibility of Marc taking back control of the left side of this map anytime soon. Second squad of Obersoldaten is in production. Obersoldaten here are on their way left to make sure those conscripts never take control of this fuel point. They get suppressed, and the SDGs will have no problem cleaning that up. Scott heads mid, apparently, to blow up some reinforced wire barricades, maybe open up some opportunities for the Allies to actually get control of the center VP. And these two vehicles are going to head right to engage against some squads and trying to throw some green cover up over here, which will be left with not much of a counter to a Panzer IV, except for, of course, this AT gun, and there's bazookas on the captain that might move to assist as well. The Osterra mortar is probably the best tool that he has to try and get those squads out of there, though. Currently set up way back there, needs to move up to a more aggressive location if he doesn't want to get nailed by that pair of AT guns right there. Mortar half-track also trying to bleed these infantry formations as they advance. They're taking heavy damage from the Scot. AT guns will be convinced to pull back to safety on the south half of the river. That one gets cleared in the middle of the river. Time on target artillery barrage will prompt these squads to retreat, but there's no real danger of any of them getting wiped by that artillery. It takes quite some time for it to land. Stray Scot shot will wipe those bios, though. So that's definitely a nice pickup, and riflemen will be able to take control of the right side fuel point and strategic points unharassed. Over here on the left side, guards are taking control of the fuel. Flak half-track will push away that squad right there as well. That's a lot of STGs. Going in hard on those conscripts right there, and the squad gets wiped. There's 3 snipers right there. Double STG Obersoldaten are trying to snipe them on the retreat, but it looks like they're long gone, and I hear a priest firing in the area somewhere. Yeah, on the center VP, will not hit anything. STG's making a huge flank on this Soviet defensive position, though. Will force a retreat from a mortar. Flamethrower sticks around for the engagement and gets a big crit on that squad, which will be forced to retreat. This one looks like it may not last much longer, but a big flank is coming in from the left side. It will probably completely overwhelm this Soviet defense. Everything forced off the battlefield. Nicely executed flank there between those Obersoldaten and the rest of the Oberkommando forces, plus the Panzer IV here to support. Made a very nice push, but the snipers are all still alive, all making their way back onto the battlefield. Time on target artillery dropped here in the middle. Doesn't look like it hit anything, but it will clear the way for riflemen to get control of the point. They may take a little bit of MG42 fire if they get spotted, though. Ooh, flak burst on those 3 snipers, but they get away very narrowly. Volksgrenadiers recover a gun. I think it was a PTRS right there before retreating. Flak half-track pops smoke, so that it will be safe from that AT gun, and it is going to pull back to safety for repairs. MG42 is firing on those riflemen. Tanks a grenade. Probably have to retreat to safety since they're now suppressed, or risk getting wiped. There's the wipe. A couple squads retreating to safety here. Panzer IV is going to move up to try and push these riflemen into retreating. Marc is up to 10 CPs now and will have access to T-34s very soon.
We've run into a Panzer IV!
What was that? Was that like some random long shot from that Panzer IV? How far away did that shoot from?
Yes, comrade. This is our sector now.
Squad is forced to retreat right there. Scott trying to work on these Panzer Grenadiers. Axis look like they are going to maintain control of the center victory point, but the clock is currently stopped. Panzer IV just sniped a sniper. Ironically, one shot and the sniper squad goes down. The other two snipers making their way to a similar area to engage. Panzer IV pops smoke, not only to enable itself to escape, but to allow these Obersoldaten to advance into close range. That squad takes 2 snipes immediately and will be forced back. And this one baits a grenade, but other than that, isn't going to be able to do anything. Will also be forced to retreat. Not a very good flanking opportunity right there because of the 2 snipers defending plus infantry positioned in green cover. So he just pulls away from that engagement. That didn't look like a very good opportunity. Command Panther's on the field, which will provide some benefits to his teammates, Panzer IV. His teammate also, by the way, seems to have pretty much given up on the engagement for the right side. And apparently some American squads have sensed that since the Osterheer attacks through this area are stopping, he's going to retreat, heal, and maybe start rotating center to help his teammate work on that territory, since the Soviet player is effectively getting double teamed at this point. T-34s are on the field. He has the fuel for another set of Collins once he can get the manpower together, bringing him up to 80 of 100 pop cap and his teammate at 98 of 100. Almost, so basically 180 pop cap for both teams right now. T-34s immediately go straight for that flag half track. There's 2 Raketenwerfers and a Panzer IV available for this. They will switch targets to the 222, which they will destroy easily. Raketenwerfers dealing pretty good damage to the rear armor of the T-34s during this, and the Panzer IV is going to try and take this opportunity to punish them for this overextension, but it looks like they will get out of that engagement with a nice pickup. Taking out the scout car is a pretty nice pickup, but other than that, going to pull back to safety. There's a little too much AT over there for them to do any more damage. In particular, the flak half track is still alive. 2 Panzer IVs plus Panther plus 2 Raketenwerfers is a bit much for that to take on without support from his teammate, though. And the indirect fire from the Scott plus mortar half track plus Priest should definitely help soften things up over here on the left side. And maybe give those T-34s a little bit more breathing room for their next push. Rear echelon troops here in the center, taking Panzer Grenadier fire. Priest is firing at something in the middle, I think. Not sure where that's shooting. Oh, shooting way back here. Gets a pretty good shot on those Grenadiers, but nothing too serious, I don't think. I think he might have fired that blind. Does pick up a wipe right there, so that's a nice pickup. Pretty good barrage. 2 Panzer IVs are going to go in hard here. Meanwhile, Volks Grenadiers falling a little bit low. Heavy mortar almost gets cleared by Panzer Grenadiers. LMG riflemen are on their way to support. These 2 Panzer IVs... Wait, what happened to those Obersoldaten? What happened to the Obersoldaten? I missed it! Both squads died! I don't understand what happened right there. Oh no! I think a T-34 just like one-shotted both squads. What was that, a demo charge maybe? I don't know, but both Obersoldaten squads just got wiped by some kind of explosive thing right there. I wish I hadn't missed it. By a mine? 1 mine? Wow, that is ridiculous. That's terrible. 800 manpower and 180 munitions down the drain to 1 Soviet mine. Scott's only up to 7 kills, could be doing a little bit better. Soviet snipers are currently at 11 and 10, so 21 between them at the 25-minute mark. Not great, but decent, and if he keeps them alive, that should be okay. Losing his other sniper was rather expensive, though. Unfortunately, and if he hadn't spent so much manpower on snipers, maybe he'd have 4 tanks right now, so something to keep in mind. Panzer IV is pulling back to safety. This thing is Vet 2, so it now sets up quite quickly. It's a nice feature. But he does need to be careful of that vetted AT gun with its extremely long range, should he activate take aim, which he probably should. Kettenwerfer set up for this push. No mines, unfortunately, but it looks like he's not going to go in hard. Doesn't like the amount of damage he's taking. Doesn't feel confident in this engagement. Command Panther will pull back ever so slightly. Snipers deploy a flare to provide vision for anti-tank weaponry to fire on that thing, and it will be reduced to a little below half health and forced to retreat. Phil is going to go Stuka from this point after Command Panther. Probably a pretty good idea. He's probably kind of wishing he hadn't gone tier 4. Obviously, his Obersoldaten did not accomplish that much before getting wiped, which means he spent a lot of fuel on this thing, and it's kind of slowing down all of his tech progression. This isn't a normal Panther, it's a Command Panther, which he didn't need tier 4 to purchase. So, something to think about. People don't necessarily, I don't know. Having the SDG upgrade makes it appealing to maybe go tier 4, but also having the Command Panther without needing to go tier 4 makes it almost equally appealing to skip. Kind of a weird commander in that regard, and that one of its features highly encourages you to go tier 4, and one of its features highly encourages you not to. I think that flak half-track has finally been destroyed. Flak half-track gets caught out of position by that T-34, and it will go down with no escape route. Not quite enough mines on this battlefield to punish T-34s for their overly aggressive maneuvers like that. Command Panther doing what it can against these T-34s at range, but the supporting Kettenwerfers are getting sniped. Over here on the left side, a lot of infantry is set up in this green cover position, but there's a Stuka on the field. Try and punish this. Pretty sure that's where it's firing right now, either there or at this area. Coming in now. Looks like it's aimed over here at the sniper, maybe? And it will destroy it. Nicely aimed Stuka barrage right there, taking out that sniper, and Panzer IVs are moving up to engage against the T-34-85 here on the left side. With Command Panther support, there's a pretty decent chance that one of these will go down if the Axis fully commit to the engagement, but it looks like they don't feel quite brave enough to do that and are just going to continue poking at range. Here in the middle, the US player will get the center VP under control, forcing a few retreats from a very light Axis defense and taking shots at targets of opportunity with that Scott. Panther gets a big hit on the Scott and forces it away for repairs, but Rifleman will get the VP captured and the clock begins ticking against the Axis, who are off to an extremely good victory point lead, so they have plenty of time to work on their comeback, and the Stuka should be a nice tool for that. And Capitan Jorge has gone tier 3 and tier 4, fielded a Panzerwerfer up to vet 1 thanks to troop training, and it's about to fire its first barrage. And he will have access to a Tiger Ace as soon as he gets the manpower together for that. Heavy mortar will retreat right there. Ooh, that was a nice mortar. This Osterter mortar, up to 18 kills, has been vet 3 for a while, seems to be doing pretty well. Infiltration grenades will help convince those riflemen to retreat. We'll actually see a very minor harassment attempt for the victory point, but the fighting position is still here. There's still riflemen positioned in green cover defending this area. American player committing just a small amount of forces to the right while he tries to rotate other weapons between the center and right as necessary. Stuka coming in over here on the left side. Looks like it's not really going to do anything. A little bit off target. I don't think that hit that guard squad as well as it looked like it could have. Panzer IV is trying to keep those T-34s from advancing. Coordinated fire from the Command Panther helps bring that T-34 down. Some Volksgrenadiers moving up to try to get aggressive, but that Vet 3 American AT gun is doing very significant damage to that Panther, which will be forced back to safety. Meanwhile, Panzer IVs can only do so much. Neither side wants to get too aggressive, but the burden is not really on the Allies to get aggressive right here, holding the victory point on the left side fuel. So if the Axis are going to continue contending for this half of the battlefield, they're going to have to get a little more aggressive across the river. Might want to consider rotating back towards the right side, taking out some softer targets over here. Just a couple rifle squads fighting position. I don't think there's any AT over here right now, so there's one AT gun. There could be some potential for a big push by the Axis tanks. There's a lot more anti-tank over here. 4 T-34s, for example, is rather difficult to crack. But once the Tiger Ace arrives, that could certainly help. Ooh, Priest is bombarding the Stuka. Oh, needs to move! Move, little Stuka! There it goes, trying to get back to safety. The Panzerwerfer is bombarding somewhere in this area. The AT gun, no, the mortar. Looks like that was pretty off target, didn't really hit anything. Firing it at that range has a tendency not to hit anything, and that T-34 just drove right up and one-shotted it, unfortunately. Panzer IV is getting overly aggressive into 4 T-34s. That one immediately goes out of control, and this one doesn't look like it's likely to survive either. Double Raketwerfer is set up for this push, however, plus Command Panther. I think there's a decent chance of at least one T-34 going down if it has a bit of a pathing problem right there. These 3 T-34s continue chasing off that mortar. One T-34 is destroyed by the Raketwerfers over here on the right side, and this Panzer IV made it back to safety. The rest of the T-34s will disengage back to their half of the river, and fortunately there are no Teller mines or shoe mines anywhere to punish them for that overly aggressive move, which is a shame because Capitan Jorge has 500 munitions in the bank. You'd think he could throw some Tiller mines down. His army is getting dangerously small. He has basically nothing remaining, and he's clearly floating up for the Tiger Ace now, not replacing any of his losses. Volksgrenadiers making their way towards the middle, toss some infiltration grenades, try and force some early retreats. They are trying to take the center VP under Scott fire, unfortunately. Stuka has only got 4 kills, but it is Vet 1, thanks to probably doing some damage to vehicles, I assume.
Work completed.
This is proving a very costly endeavor. He can't risk it. He didn't even pick up his Panzerschreck though, he just left it there. Stern Pioneers working on the left side are immediately forced to retreat. This Raketwerfer hits Vet 2, taking some long shots at T-34s.
Fallback position upgrade ready.
Loses vision. Volksgrenadiers moving up to provide it again. Panzer IV is fully repaired at Vet 2, and here comes the Tiger Ace. Axis definitely need this to have an extraordinarily dramatic impact on the left side, and that looks like that's where it's going to go. With Command Panther and vetted Panzer IV support, and with no mines over here, I think there's a decent chance that this armored force could win in a decisive engagement for the left side, especially with 2 Raketwerfers available. But so far, it doesn't look like anything's going to happen. Alright, here we go. Tiger Ace moving to engage. Command Panther slightly leading the way to try and maybe throw coordinated fire on one of these tanks. Tiger Ace moves up to take a long shot. Nothing quite in range yet. There it is. Big hit and crew shock on that T-34 in addition to coordinated fire, so it will take more damage and it's going down very quick. Tiger Ace gets buttoned. Takes a couple big hits, but the T-34 will be destroyed. Raketwerfer engaging from across the river, and the Panzer IV is going to blitz into close range as well to soak up damage and dish damage and provide vision. Tiger Ace has taken engine damage. Stuka is coming down in the area. This could be devastating. There's a lot of infantry here. One squad wiped, coming down on the T-34 and repairing combat engineers. They almost get wiped and are forced to retreat as well. Priest bombardment in the area threatens to do significant damage though, wiping that Prio squad, and the Tiger Ace is very close to being destroyed. Panzer IV also needs to pull back, heavily damaged, but it looks like everything will get to safety away from the threat of the Vet 3 AT gun and Panzerschreck equipped riflemen right there. Engagement went pretty well for the Axis, but they're going to be forced off the field for repairs for quite a while, and they will be threatened with Priest bombardment while they're off the field for repairs. Panzer Grenadiers trying to take control of the center victory point right there will have to retreat after getting the point decapped and briefly slowing the victory point clock. They still have a 100 victory point lead though, and plenty of time to try to enact a comeback and slowly whittle down the Axis or Allied forces. But another set of T-34-85s is on the field because they can't seem to get control of a fuel point, and the Allied armor swarm is just unending, and Crom has 500 fuel in the bank to replace any losses that he may sustain. So the Axis have a ton of Allied forces to chew through before they will even be close to retaking control of this game. And that's just what happens if you let your opponent have both fuel points for any extended amount of time in a 2v2. Here in the back, Stern Pioneers slowly repairing the Command Panther, the Tiger Ace, and Panzer IV awaiting repairs by the Mechanized Regiment HQ. It's going to take quite some time to get all of these things repaired, and the Tiger Ace economic drain on Capitan Jorge is definitely not going to help things. Stuka firing from range, trying to maybe do a little bit of damage to some defensive formations over here. Didn't really do anything that impressive. 2 guards killed, not the end of the world. Might want to consider taking out that heavy mortar if an opportunity arises. But when it's right next to a forest like that, sometimes the rockets hit the trees and stuff. So, may not always pay off. Osterra mortar working on this fighting position right here. It's up to 21 kills, performing pretty well. The American mortar is up to 16, so again, it's doing okay. White phosphorus being deployed to do a little damage to that team weapon. The Axis defensive line looks like it's gonna get tested a little bit here. 2 squads of infantry moving up with T-34 support. All 4 T-34s quite close to being fully repaired, and the engagement's probably about to be rejoined over here. The Tiger Ace and Panzer IV are both available for the fight, and the Command Panther is leading the charge across the river. It will get buttoned. No coordinated fire thrown on a T-34 yet. Panzer IV slightly in front. Rakettenwerfer supporting from the back. Tiger Ace also taking shots from at range, trying to avoid taking engine damage if it can at all be avoided. Priest bombardment is dealing heavy damage. I think that's maybe 2 priests. Looked like that might have been 2 priests. Almost wiping a bunch of infantry squads here and dealing pretty good damage to the Ace, and these Axis tanks are going to have to pull back to safety a little bit. This Allied tank comes close to being destroyed, but not quite. Panzer IV will peek, but pop smoke to get to safety. Command Panther taking a shot at range at that. T-34, and everything is going to pull back away from this battle. Stuka bombarding. Ooh, we'll clear the Vet 3 AT gun and destroy the heavy mortar. That was a very nice Stuka barrage right there. Perfect. The gun is destroyed completely and it cannot be recrewed. All T-34s brought to about half. Will need to pull back for repairs as well. The Command Panther at full. Tiger Ace at about half. Lots of infantry losses for the Axis during that due to indirect fire and tank shells. But I would say the engagement went okay. It's very important to actually kill Allied tanks with this Tiger Ace, though, because of its immense cost over time. Capitan Jorge's resources being slowed drastically. Panzer takes a shot at the T-34 from range. Sniper deploys a flare to try and give vision of the Tiger Ace. A second Stuka is on the field since it's the only unit Phil seems to have that can really engage safely. Get a decent return. Needs to be able to fire from range. Long range on this map is very important because crossing this river is so deadly. Stuka firing. Tiger Ace moving to try and peek with Command Panther support. T-34 is pulling back. Stuka is firing on this AT gun. It will come close to clearing it, and the other one firing in this area. Looks like it won't really hit anything. Meanwhile, a Priest is bombarding in this area, putting that Rakettenwerfer in a bit of danger. Other infantry in the area in a little bit of danger. Looks like it's not going to do anything too serious. Panzer Grenadiers will retreat right there on the right side, and Riflemen are moving up to take control of the right side, Victory Point, and various other territory over here. Osterra have only made very light attempts at taking control of the right. There's still plenty of defenses over here. Fighting position there, Rifleman position in green cover, and of course all the indirect fire. There's a Scott, mortar half-track, and 2 priests. No, 1 priest. Why do I keep thinking there's 2 priests? There's only 1 priest. He's too pop-cap to make anymore. Honestly, he's got so much indirect fire that he's engaged so cost-effectively. He's now starting to float quite a lot of resources, but he's pop-capped and there's really nothing he can do about that. Unless he wants to decrew all of his vehicles to field further vehicles, which he might consider. Bringing himself well over maximum pop-cap would make it so he can't reinforce his infantry squads, though, so something to keep in mind. Stuka firing. Off target. Doesn't hit anything right there. Allies seem to be struggling. Struggling a little bit, not sure what to do on the left side. The Tiger Ace is just a little too threatening. Although the T-34 swarm is pretty intimidating. Riflemen have taken control of the center. T-34s will easily punish anything that tries to cross the river there if the Axis tanks don't lead the charge. Tiger Ace is fully repaired and will make its way into the lead the charge on the next engagement. This Duke is going to try and soften up any defenses. Should be able to do successfully. Late reaction. Oh no. 2 combat engineer squads wiped. Guards very nearly wiped. Thanks to artillery flares from Phil. That actually provided him vision for that Stuka barrage, which is a very nice feature to have as Oberkommando West. Oberkommando West doesn't have very many recon abilities. Artillery flares would be a very nice thing to have in conjunction with the Stuka. Probably one of the best features of the Spec Ops Commander, especially since they're so sneaky. Panzer Grenadiers going in hard. Will toss a grenade into the sniper nest right there. Sniper does not react and gets wiped. T-34 goes down to the charging Command Panther, which will hit Vet 4 before trying to disengage. The Tiger Ace still has full health for this engagement, and a Priest is bombarding those Raketenwerfers, which should probably try and pull to safety. Tiger Ace plus Panzer 4 almost wipe a conscript squad right there, which gets away very narrowly. Raketenwerfers will retreat out of the Priest barrage and should be able to get to safety. Volksgrenadiers also had to retreat out of that. No attempt to take control of the left side fuel point during that, but Sturm Pioneers look like they should maybe get control of the center VP, and a Panzer IV is available to try and destroy that fighting position. Tiger Ace making a wide flank left, and after that engagement only one of the 3 T-34s was destroyed. Stuka is bombarding somewhere in the center here. Oh, will destroy that AT gun and the fighting position. Captain making a play for the center VP. Might be able to win against those, definitely, okay, wins against those Sturm Pioneers with a huge bazooka snipe right there. Wow, really? All 3 squad members bazooka sniped and wiped on retreat. Ouch. Scott working on that mortar will prompt it to retreat, and both of these Stukas need to pull back to the safety of the Axis base. Command Panther needs some repairs as well. Tiger Ace and Panzer IV just sitting over here on the left. Might want to consider trying to work the center a little bit, try and push away that Scott. Bundle grenade on the captain is off target. It does get dodged. Wow. Jeez, these wipes. Scott just wiped that full Panzer Grenadier squad right there. Captain will tank a Stuka barrage before running home, and over here on the left side, Pios are getting control of the fuel point. What is that mortar doing? Mortar just drove straight into a Panzer Shrek squad, and they have 2 Shreks. Ooh. That miracle mortar smoke will not save the day. What even fired that? I have no idea where that smoke barrage came from. Somebody's firing smoke. It's not that Scott. Is it this thing? I have no idea. Mortar half-track goes down. This squad will also be forced to retreat. Another Stuka barrage coming in. In the middle. Almost wipes that rifle squad, destroys some sandbags as well, and the Axis seems to slowly be growing their territory. They have been experiencing some success on the left side, but the 3 T-34s are about to all be fully repaired, and once they are, they will again emerge as a pretty scary threat to everything. Seriously though, where is that smoke coming from? Okay, it is the Oster mortar doing that. We'll somewhat protect these Panzer Grenadiers as they try to take control of this territory, but they are taking heavy damage from indirect fire in the process. We'll be forced to retreat right there. Over here on the right side, Command Panthers firing at the T-34. Can't quite finish the job from range, but it is Vet 4 and is probably in no significant danger. These T-34s are making an overly aggressive push, and there's a Tellermine right there. Doesn't look like either one of them is going to hit that, unfortunately. Unless they back over it, which they might. Not quite. Then crashes off map. T-34 is engaging against those Obersoldaten. Not finding an opportunity against them. Scott firing at that mortar. Stuka barrage coming in on the center. There's a fresh mortar half-track on the field, apparently. Ooh, double Stuka barrage. Wipes the captain. Vehicles will get clear. Over here on the right side, we'll see a bit of a push with Rakettenwerfers to try and take out these fighting positions. That one will go down in one volley. T-34 is moving to try and crush or push away these infantry squads. Volksgrenadiers don't like the engagement. They're going to pull back to safety. Rakettenwerfer also going to pull back to safety. Panzer Grenadiers taking control of the center VP. Uh-oh. Nice minesweeping with that T-34. T-34 destroys the Teller mine by driving right over and takes no damage, and then destroys that mortar. Okay. Fresh Obersoldaten squad fielded right here. What's that Tiger Ace doing this whole time, by the way? He's just sitting here. His army is so small because he's fielded a Tiger Ace and not using it. Fielding a Tiger Ace and sitting at AFK is probably one of the worst things that you can possibly do as Oster. So he needs to get that Tiger Ace moving. The drain on his economy is immense. Coordinated fire on that T-34. Looks like it will barely get to safety. That Command Panther's going to pull back, not wanting to get overly aggressive here. Oh, hey, there it comes. Tiger Ace moving in from the left flank on these T-34s. Panzer IV disengaging. Command Panther actually disengaging now. That Scott is making some sort of suicidal charge for no reason. Dives into the center VP and gets killed. Tiger Ace has not taken a scratch. It's just going to keep some conscripts at bay for now, trying to avoid engine damage, and the squad will retreat. Everything retreating out of the center. Time on target artillery. Chrome is currently at 60 of 100 pop cap. Seriously? Now it's time to spend that resource float. It's definitely time to spend that resource float. 1800 manpower, 900 fuel, 60 pop cap. He needs to like spam Shermans now because he has taken some pretty serious losses. Hasn't replaced them. T-34 is here. Needs some repairs. The Priest is up to Vet 3. Clearly it's performing quite well this game. Stukas have 24 and 25 kills. 50 kills between two Stukas. Not bad. Not bad at all. Grenade toss on the Obersoldaten right there. Forces them to retreat. Counter grenades, bleeding these riflemen a little bit. Both sides firing tons of indirect fire. I feel like he may have stupid those Panzer Grenadiers. Okay, not quite. Priest firing. Working on some team weapons there in the back. This game turning into a good old-fashioned crossing in the woods slugfest. More infantry being hurled into the center. Tiger Ace will move to re-engage against some Soviet tanks. Marc is up to 650 fuel. He just doesn't have the manpower to throw any more Collins on the field, or the pop cap for that matter. 5 T-34s is a pretty sizable tank army to try and maintain, but probably sufficient to take out a Tiger Ace as well. If they even want to. The economic drain it's probably inflicting upon the Axis at this point is probably worth more than destroying that Tiger Ace would be. Ooh, Panzer IV just suicided into way too much. There's 3 T-34s plus the AT gun right there. That did not go well. Stuka barrage coming in, provided vision by artillery flares. Looks like it could be pretty good. No, pretty off target. Combination usually be fine. That stray shot deals a little damage to the mortar though. Didn't really do any damage to those tanks either. Smoke being deployed on the center capture circle, but Obersoldaten are here to defend. Riflemen probably don't want to get too close.
squad, waiting for orders.
There are a lot of corpses in the center victory point circle. 51 minutes in, both teams will hit 180 VPs. Doesn't really look like there's going to be a major momentum swing in either side's favor anytime soon. Chrome has started making some more riflemen. No more vehicles as of right now. If I were him, I'd at least get a second priest. I don't know, maybe. Jackson's could be nice against this heavy armor, but again, I don't know if destroying the Tiger Ace that's just kind of sitting there is even that important. Two squads over here on the left side engaging those Rakettenwerfer from the south of the river. Will prompt them to retreat before retreating themselves out of Tiger Ace fire. Axis will maintain control of the center VP. Meanwhile, on the right side, two T-34s will chase away everything over here. And a lot of riflemen, or fresh rifleman squads, are being fielded and just suicided into the center. Don't seem to be experiencing a whole lot of success. IR half-track fielded here by the Overcommando West to provide vision for those Stukas, I think. And at this point in the game, why not? Stuka will bombard across the river, not really hitting anything, unfortunately. And riflemen are slowly trying to take control of the VP under more Stuka fire, which brings them low but does not quite destroy them. A big push by T-34s against this heavy Axis armor will destroy the IR half-track and go in on the Vet 5 now, Command Panther. Nice placement on those Rakettenwerfers, punishes that overly aggressive T-34. The Ace is going down pretty quick from Marc vehicle. Rakettenwerfers don't quite have a line on that T-34 yet, but the Command Panther will take it down right there. The very wounded T-34 right here is diving, but that clutch block by the Panther to make sure that Tiger Ace got to safety. Nice block, and that Vet 5 Command Panther is definitely pulling its weight this game. Two more T-34s thrown on the field. Oh no, it just took engine damage. Oh, is that gonna go down? No! Main gun destroyed. Both AT guns firing at it from across the river. Oh no! No! The Command Panther Ace was destroyed by AT gunfire from the south half of the river. And sustained T-34 85 fire. Oh, what a hero! What a hero! Died fighting for the Safasa land. White phosphorus deployed here in the center victory point. Will deny it to the Axis for now. S-Mine Field does light, extremely light apparently, damage to these guards as they try and get the left side VP under control. Take it back away from the Axis. Folks Grenadiers are going to work on the center VP now. PTRS snipe on those stern pilots right there. Grenade toss. Oh! Their decision not to switch targets to the Obersoldat on the approach does cost them that engagement in trying to snipe that stern pilot squad, and were not successful. Apparently Chrome is going to just make only riflemen for the entire rest of this game. He is just going rifleman, 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 rifleman. So much for that AT gun, unfortunately. Artillery flares providing vision for those Stukas once again. Rifleman going deep. He's up to 5 squads of riflemen right there, 4 of which are brand new. He will clear a mortar and put pressure on these Panzer Grenadiers, consequently. But this build is leaving him with 1,000 unspent fuel for whatever reason. I don't know why he would go only riflemen, but okay. That mortar half-track is... oh, that's a fresh one. I don't know how many kills his mortar half-tracks have had combined this game, but I think they've performed pretty okay. On this map, it's pretty hard for indirect fire not to perform well, because it pretty much always turns into a slugfest. Fresh Command Panther has been fielded left to assist the Tiger Ace, which has been on the field forever and only has 42 kills. It's barely done anything. It's probably cost Jorge more than it's given him, honestly. He has not utilized this thing much. That T-34 will get caught at extremely low health, out of position by that Command Panther. The Tiger Ace is not moving to support in this engagement, unfortunately, and that Command Panther is going down very quick and will have to pull back for repairs. Certainly not the weapon that the Vet 5 Command Panther was, unfortunately. Priest is bombarding the center, forcing retreats from whatever, Panzer Grenadiers. And Jorge is down to only a squad of Panzer Grenadiers and an AT gun. Phil is down to his 2 Stukas Command Panther and 2 squads of infantry. Meanwhile, Crom has riflemen. And Marc just called in another set of T-34s. The Allied war machine is proving very difficult to slow down this game. So many tanks. Stuka barraging over here on the left side, trying to put a little damage on some of this stuff. Cross to the streams. Almost wiping that squad. Bringing this mortar down low. Actually pretty good damage to the T-34. The T-34 fleet has a pretty healthy amount of HP. Probably maybe go in. Try and kill those Stukas. I feel like if there was going to be a good time to do that, this is it, that fresh set, because I don't think the Axis can stop 4 T-34s. And if they never kill those Stukas, then this rifleman-only strategy is probably going to work. Or fail. Probably not going to work. Because the Stukas will kill it. Panzer Grenadiers working on the riflemen here in the center. Seem to be winning despite the Panzerschreck upgrade. Trying to continuously dodge grenades. New fighting position up right there. Folks Grenadiers move into the capture circle to help in this engagement. A couple Panzerschrecks connect. Fighting position. Oh, that's it. Wow. Oh, that was a Vet 4 incendiary Stuka barrage right there. That's kind of fun. Destroys the mortar, forces a retreat from a bunch of Pyos, produces a dangerous retreat path for these riflemen here. And that will not share a cooldown with the regular creeping barrage, but it does cost 100 munitions to deploy, so that's, he basically can't do that again. That was all of his munitions for that barrage. I don't know if he got 100 munitions worth of value out of it, but it is kind of nice. 2 squads of riflemen forced to retreat right there from a lot of firepower. Here comes a big push. He really wants to kill everything over here with this. 2 T-34s going in deep. This one coming in on the rear of the Command Panther as it moves to support. This T-34 took too much damage in the engagement, immediately forced to retreat by the Tiger Ace. Meanwhile, the Command Panther forces this to retreat with coordinated fire, and it looks like this push by the Soviet player was a bit of a failure. But I think he should be able to get out unpunished. Maybe. That's crew shock. It's in a lot of danger. Trying to get that out of there. Fortunately, T-34s certainly do have a lot of health. Tiger Ace should have no problem pushing the guards out of the left side victory point circle, and only now are the Axis falling to 90 victory points. 58 minutes into the game, and this slugfest doesn't show any signs of being close to over. T-34s need repairs, a lot of repairs. Soviet player has a pretty decent pool of munitions. His munitions income is 3. That's how many T-34s he has self-repairing right now.
We are losing supplies to the enemy. The enemy has 75 points remaining.
Squad gets wiped by the Stuka barrage right there. Infantry move out to get control of the point. Obersoldaten forced to retreat there from the center.
Capture our territory.
There is so much American stuff everywhere. There are riflemen and just fighting positions and sandbags or whatever all over the battlefield. There's so many little yellow dots. By comparison, the number of blue dots is looking a little small, mostly because he's operating only on T-34s and combat engineers at this point. Transition to pretty much a tank-only army.
Marked and targeted.
And of course, Jorge continues to just have no army because he has a Tiger Ace on the field and has had no income for the last 30 minutes, which makes it amazing that they've managed to hold on for this long. Just goes to show how much work those 2 Stukas have been doing in shutting down all Allied infantry.
We have a fresh grenadier squad. We have a full squad.
Command Panther took a little bit of engine damage and needs to pull back to safety over here on the left side. Troop training just got activated on something. These Grens, I guess. Upgraded with G43s. Stuka barrage coming down here in the middle.
The situation is becoming critical.
Both Stuka barrages
50 points remaining.
deal minor damage. The Axis absolutely have to find a way to kill all defenses here for the center victory point and try and get them captured because they have only 50 points left. They are running out of time. There goes that squad.
Suffering losses.
Squad wipes are not something you can afford when there's a Tiger Ace on the field. Losing a full squad of overs would probably be just as bad, but they're going to be hurled into the center victory point regardless. Target weak point from the Tiger Ace does minor damage to that T-34. We'll pull back slightly. Command Panther moves up to try and take shots at range. Oversold doesn't look like they'll be forced to retreat here. There they go. MG42 is covering the capture circle and the clock will be stopped once again.
Squad back to full strength.
Riflemen trying to take control of the center victory point here. White phosphorus deployed on the MG42 while they try and capture the point. Anti-tank gun firing over here on the left side does minor damage to that T-34, but it will be pushed away.
Engineers ready for assignment.
Stuka bombarding. Ooh, that could be a good one. Clears one of 2 AT guns. Wasn't that bad actually. I really think the only reason the Allies have not won yet is because of riflemen, and 1,300 fuel in the bank. If you would just make like 12 Shermans, there's really nothing the Axis have that can stop 12 Shermans and 4 T-34s. It doesn't matter that they have a Tiger Ace and a Command Panther and like a little AT on the field. Those Stukas aren't going to do anything against 12 Shermans, but they can take on as many riflemen as the Allies choose to hurl at them, which makes it very strange. Very strange that he's making that much infantry. Or, you know, 12 priests, whatever. Time on target artillery will deny capture of the center VP briefly, and the clock will stay stopped at 1 hour and 3 minutes. Axis have 34 VPs left, and we'll continue to try and hold the line.
Enemies are swarming one of our emplacements. Green as green can be. Well, grab your shit.
2 T-34s look like they want to try and execute some sort of flank here in the north. Not much to defend against that angle of attack. Priest bombarding this area. Firing at the Stukas. It actually got a pretty decent hit off on the Vet 5 Stuka. But it will pull back for repairs and be fine. These 2 T-34s heading left. These 2 continue sitting here on the right flank, and it looks like we're going to see a coordinated effort by those 4 tanks to try and kill something. This one going in hard from behind on that mortar. I think he's going to try and hunt and destroy the Stukas. Marc vehicle goes down on something over here on the Tiger Ace as this T-34 tries to come up behind. Nicely executed tank flank with these T-34s, but I think maybe he should have tried to focus on killing the Stukas rather than the Ace here. The Ace is going to be able to soak up a lot of damage, and the timing on that flank could have maybe been a little better. Didn't get any great shots off on the rear armor, and 2 T-34s have already gone down. This one is dangerously low. This one looks like it might go down here to Tiger Ace fire. AT gun turns to fire on it, and it is barely getting away. T-34 over here in the middle also trying to get away through time on target artillery, but it looks like it's going to survive. A Stuka barrage is coming in on top of it though, and it will just barely be sniped by the AT gun right there, and the T-34 goes down. This one is still alive, but a Stuka barrage is coming in on the general area, not on top of the tank though, and it will receive repairs. So the Axis do manage to weather that storm quite gracefully. The Tiger Ace brought to a little bit below half, but it is somehow still alive and actually up to 72 kills. Although I'm still not entirely convinced that this thing has given a return on its investment of probably well over like 2,000 manpower and who knows how much fuel over the course of this game. Clock will start ticking against the Allies after that engagement. Axis having fallen down to 26 VPs. But they're slowly trying to grow their territory, making a bit of a harassment attempt right, but they're still going to get shut down by this fighting position spam. And the white phosphorus is making things difficult here in the center. Flamethrower spam making its way across the river to push away all Axis team weapons and keep everything out of the center victory point. Stuka bombarding somewhere. Over here on the left side, the flamethrowers eat that Stuka barrage, take a lot of damage.
We have nearly won. The enemy is down to 25 points.
A mortar team has been killed. Our veterans shall defeat the enemy.
Time on target, artillery onto the AT blob. Doesn't look like, well, hope those overs don't walk into it. Everything is fine. A couple tanks take some damage here. Priest looks like it's bombarding the area, bringing some guns low. Wipe maybe? No, not quite on the Stern Pioneers. Everything running through the Priest barrage, taking a lot of damage though. Stuka barrage on those riflemen inflicts massive damage, and both squads are wiped, and the AT guns will force the T-34 back right there. That's a Vet 2 AT gun. The Axis currently have only 10 points though, and they must succeed in their push for the center VP here, and they must not lose it from this point forward. They will stop the clock at 7 VPs as they make a desperate push for the center with their Tiger Ace and Panther, and from this point forward they absolutely must not falter. Ooh, a little bit of friendly crew shock right there from the Tiger Ace on the Command Panther. Oops. Panther taking shots at the Priest, which needs to pull back to safety. It's a 45 kill Priest. Axis lost vision of it ever so briefly right there. I can't believe that Panther's actually going to disengage from that free Priest kill. He had that for sure. So many Axis infantry dying in white phosphorus smoke in the center VP, and they will not be able to safely capture this point, but the riflemen in the area also get wiped. Fighting position destroyed there. That one probably going to go down next. Command Panther doesn't feel safe and is pulling back to safety. Tiger Ace is going to seriously disengage away from the center VP. They cannot afford to lose this point. Something needs to stick around and kill this capture attempt. All right, incendiary barrage into the capture circle. Wipes those riflemen for 100 munitions. Trying to maximize his Stuka's firepower if at all possible. This one up to 77 kills, this one up to 44. Over 100 kills between those two Stukas in this hour-long game. Command Panther pulling away from an AT gun right there. Despite the flames and white phosphorus and everything else, those Stern Pioneers will capture the center victory point before being forced to retreat. Harassment attempt left by this wounded rifle squad will fail in the face of this amount of vetted Axis infantry, and the T-34 peeking in the center will not be able to fire through the white phosphorus smoke. Tiger Ace moving towards the right side will clear up a fighting position right there. This one is still defending the right side VP though, and the clock is very, very tentatively ticking against the Allies. Axis have only 7 victory points remain. The Allies need to start thinking about their next push. We're going to see a Sherman queued up by Chrome. An hour and 9 minutes in, he's like, alright, I guess I'll spend some fuel. Queuing up a Sherman now. If he just keeps exhausting all of his fuel reserves over the course of the rest of the game, while he still has 150 victory points worth of time, even though it's an hour and 9 minutes in, and may test his patience a little bit, if he could mass maybe four Shermans as the victory points tick down a little bit, support his teammate in a combined push with both of their medium tank forces. I still think it's possible for the Allies to win this game. There's not that much stuff over here. Just a couple of squads of infantry, the Tiger Ace, which is of course a serious problem that the Allies have yet to solve. And then the Overcommand of West player doesn't have that much anti-Sherman, just one pack of Panzerschreck or two, and the Command Panther. 7 or 8 Allied medium tank. There's 5 T-34s. 5 T-34s and a Sherman. I think it's very possible for the Allies to overwhelm this, especially with the extremely crippled Oster economy. Stuka bombardment coming in deals minor damage to tanks, but doesn't look like it really connected with any infantry anywhere. Second barrage over here doesn't look like it hit anything either. The 5 T-34s might be pushing a little bit prematurely, but they are going to take this opportunity to go hard left, all 5 of them looking for an opportunity here. There's the Command Panther is marked, and the Tiger Ace also available for this engagement. That T-34 is falling quite low, but will not go down yet. The Sherman goes down here in the middle up against, I don't even know what. Tiger Ace is down well below half, trying to focus fire it down, but he didn't fully commit to the engagement. He's pulling back to safety. Why would he not go in hard? He's not going in hard enough and trying to slug it out from maximum range, and it's costing him. There goes the first T-34 right there. This one falling quite low. Priest is bombarding during this engagement as well, trying to wipe some infantry squads, and clears out that AT gun and forces all infantry squads to retreat. Stun grenade on the rifleman in the point will cause them to fail to capture this, and it looks like this push will get shut down as all Soviet tanks disengage from an engagement in which I think that Tiger Ace could have been destroyed, that Panther too. I mean, just look at the amount of health those Soviet tanks have left compared to how much the Axis tanks have left, and yet he chose to pull back to safety. Unfortunately. Chrome lost to Sherman during that. I don't know how. It's just dead right there. To a Raketenwerfer, I guess? Maybe? And the AT gun? The AT gun's been vaporized. Allies are continuing to fail to take control of territory, and is now an hour and 11 minutes into this game. There's still 4 Soviet T-34s on the field.
Target vehicle marking available.
Chrome is struggling to keep his manpower up. Can no longer even afford to produce tanks despite having been floating 2,000 manpower earlier this game. But, I mean, he has thrown away 12 rifle squads. That's a lot of rifle squads to be throwing down the drain for no real gain whatsoever. I don't know what he was thinking, going RRRRR this game. Clearly it didn't work very well. And he's lost 268 units, but to be fair, everyone has lost well over 250 models except for Captain Jorge, because he hasn't been able to... Probably just because his economy is so shitty, that's the only real reason. 100 points left for the Allies, and they're going to have to figure something out. Bunker here is about to get busted by the delayed fuse HE shells, or whatever they're called from this mortar thing. There goes the bunker. Rifleman charging. This is the last rifle squad left alive for Chrome. Will make its way into the capture circle, try and get it captured. Plus the Major being sent in. Desperation starting to kick in a little bit for the Allies here. Grenade and counter grenade both off target, and MG42 should be able to maybe force this infantry away, but T-34 is dealing heavy damage here. And Stuka bombardment is coming down and kills a Priest. Wow. And a full rifle squad right there. That was a really devastating Stuka barrage. Tiger Ace taking shots at those T-34s from range. They're going to have to pull back a little bit. 2 Panthers set up over here on the left will have no problem winning against these T-34s, which has to pull back to safety. I think we might see both of these go down. Oh no. Is it possible that the Axis have finally managed to outproduce the Allies with T-Panthers? It looks like it a little bit. That one is probably going to die at a coordinated fire as it stopped kiting. 2 T-34s trying to move to support from this direction. Panther snipe is off target. T-34 is slowly getting back to safety. Marc vehicle goes off on this Panther, which is going to try and blitz away and disengage from this fight. Victory points are still ticking in favor of the Axis. Only 7 points remaining. They will continue to slug it out with the Allies, who are continuing to fail in all attempts to take back control of the center. And Chrome, for whatever reason, will continue to sink all of his manpower into riflemen. Why would he do that? That makes no sense. T-34 makes an overly aggressive push. He's going in hard with 5 tanks. He just fielded a fresh set, trying to kill something, anything. Marks this Panther at point blank range. Will take some shots. Panther's very close to going down, and the shot penetrates. Panther is sent out of control and destroyed. This T-34 will probably be traded in exchange, and the Tiger Ace shot at range will destroy the other T-34. These 2 tanks were not in range to support during that engagement. I can't count the number of times that Marc has undercommitted forces and lost a bunch of tanks and traded unfavorably as a result. I don't understand why he wouldn't send everything. If he doesn't send everything, he makes it easy for his opponent to pick him off 1 tank at a time. falling down to 64 points remaining. The Allies are slowly losing control of this game and maybe losing any hope of being able to win this. Smoke deployed in the center, Stuke barrage coming down on everything, and it's all wiped. The Soviet player reduced somehow to only these 2 tanks remaining, and Chrome reduced to nothing but a mortar half-track and a squad of riflemen. In a game that the Allies should have had in the bag, honestly. I don't think I've ever seen elite troops win a game that lasted an hour and 15 minutes. That is something I previously thought to be impossible, but apparently the Allies have managed to spend their resources even more inefficiently than Oster with a Tiger Ace on the field. Somehow that was possible. And Chrome is somehow managing to impress us all by spending his resources in even worse fashion. Going from rifle spam to Stuart spam. Which may be the worst decision there is. But at the same time, I would say that the Allies' will has been broken, shattered, as they hurled their forces against this Tiger Ace and supporting units time and time again, and failed. Finally, they'd had enough after an hour and 16 minutes of grueling combat on crossing in the woods. And the game comes to a close. GG. Axis wins.